When it comes to Americans, there are many stereotypes that get portrayed, whether that be in movies, TV, or in the general media. Loud and obnoxious, overly patriotic, geographically challenged, being overweight, or being super rich with Hollywood tan lines and sports cars in every driveway. So what's true and what's not? I've lived here for almost 7 years now, and today I'm going to set the record straight about how I see everyday America.
Can you hear the thunder? Oh, you better run, you better take cover. Oh.
You know, stereotypes about Americans are everywhere, and they're perpetuated by media, pop culture, and even our own conversations. Let's start with being loud and obnoxious.
USA, USA.
National champions, Louisiana State University, American football. You don't know anything about it. We would kick your ass though if you tried. But no, Americans are not loud and obnoxious. I don't know what you heard.
Well, it's true that some Americans can be pretty outspoken, but that doesn't mean that they are all like that. In fact, many Americans are quite reserved and polite. The idea that Americans are universally rude and unfriendly is simply not true. The southern and Midwestern states in particular are known for their politeness and hospitality. And many Americans value politeness and are willing to help strangers as well. What drew me originally to Tennessee was just how friendly and at home the locals here made me feel.
Y'all come back now.
Maybe I took them saying y'all come back now a little too literally when I decided to move here. So what about patriotism? Is it really blind loyalty? Or is there something more complex going on?
USA.
I think it's fair to say that Americans are very proud of their country, but that doesn't mean that they can't criticize it either. In fact, many Americans are deeply critical of their government and social systems and genuinely want to make the world a better place. Patriotism is definitely a big part of the American culture. There are songs, national holidays, and a tendency to display the American flag anywhere and everywhere. Holding your hand over your heart when the anthem plays, to me, is a great thing. Be proud, be respectful of where you're from. Now, my kids recite the Pledge of Allegiance every morning at school, and they sing the national anthem here as well. It's something that I feel that we have lost in Australia to some extent, particularly when it comes to the division that we see every year around celebrating Australia Day and being proud to be an Aussie. I lived in Australia's capital city, Canberra, for 15 years prior to moving to the US, and I was always surprised when driving past Parliament House, which is our equivalent to the Capitol building, that the flagpoles as you drive up that hill were always left empty. Now, maybe they've changed this now, you can let me know in the comments, but Americans certainly fly the good old stars and stripes in front of businesses, houses, from trucks, literally everywhere. And you know what? I like it. Many people I talk to also do not like the fact that America is seen as the world's policeman. They just want to worry about what is happening here and not have to send their family and friends off to fight in some place that chants death to America.
USA, USA.
But when it comes to geography, it's true that some Americans might not know where certain countries are.
Honestly, my geography is so horrible. I can't name anything. Like
Try
nothing.
naming something.
Is it South Africa?
Nope.
I know South Africa's over here somewhere.
No.
Greenland or Iceland or something?
That's Alaska. Any country.
No.
And on the entire map.
This is so horrible.
Where's America?
I would say this big one, but I'm probably wrong.
You're definitely wrong.
Okay.
This is a country of more than 300 million people, and you'll find some that have been to every country in the world, and then again, some that have never left their state.
Oh, hell no.
If you look hard enough in your own country, I'm sure you'll find exactly the same thing as well.
Yeah, nah.
Despite the rumor to the contrary, 46% of Americans actually own a passport. I've also run into many that have come to visit Australia and love our country too. There's a common thought that all Americans are obese.
USA.
Now, obesity rates are indeed high, but not every American is overweight. In fact, many Americans prioritize health and fitness, embracing diets and exercise routines. The country boasts a thriving wellness and fitness industry. From yoga studios to organic food markets, health consciousness is widespread. It is expensive though too. It's much cheaper and quicker to run to McDonald's for a burger rather than go down to Whole Foods and buy fresh ingredients to prepare at home. Now sure, the US gave the world McDonald's and KFC, but only some Americans eat burgers and fries daily. Some of the food sold in the US is notorious for being oversaturated with sugar and salt. It's cheap, acts as a preservative, and it's addictive. You can find healthy alternatives in America, but it's harder and more expensive. Oh, and the coffee does suck. I'll agree with that one for sure. The US is full of people who are extremely fit, extremely unhealthy, and anywhere in between. Depending upon what region of the country that you're visiting, people might even look different too. People in California dress differently than people, say, in Wisconsin. You'll see people who have blindly white bleached teeth, and some people who can't afford to go to the dentist. It is a country of extremes. There isn't this huge obsession with Hollywood that you'll see portrayed in the media either. And to be honest, most people I know could care less about what the Kardashians are up to. Hollywood plays its part to entertain us, but it's not the be-all and end-all of life in the US of A. There isn't a basketball hoop in everyone's driveway either. There's many other sports to play, rather than the stereotypical baseball, football and basketball.
USA.
There's an idea that Americans don't value family. Despite the high divorce rates often cited, many Americans place great importance on family bonds and relationships. Extended families usually come together for holidays and special occasions like Christmas and Thanksgiving. This myth doesn't reflect the deep sense of family connection that exists in many American households. In fact, in many respects, I see that family is the most important thing to many people that I know here.
But this house is right by your parents.
Oh my God, do you hear what you're saying?
Does every American drive a pickup truck or some other huge gas guzzler? Now, living in the South, yes, I see a lot of pickup trucks, but I also see a lot of Teslas, Hyundais, BMWs and Jeeps. And if you live in New York City, chances are you won't even own a car, as public transport like subways and buses makes it easier and cheaper to get around. Then there's the gun stereotype that the media loves to play with too. Are all Americans obsessed with guns? Now, thanks to Hollywood, people think that Americans sleep with a gun under their pillow. And while the US does have a unique relationship with firearms, thanks in large part to having to firstly fight for its independence, and then the Second Amendment, which enshrines that right, it's not like every household has an armory. Gun ownership is a complex issue, and opinions on it vary widely across the country. Now, I personally know more people that do not own guns as opposed to those that do, and I live in the South where supposedly guns grow on trees. It surprised me to learn that statistically, only 36% of Americans own a firearm or live with someone who does. Right now, gun ownership in the country is the lowest that it's been since the 1970s, and yet still, the US has the most guns per capita than anywhere in the world. Now, I'll admit that coming from Australia, it was a shock to me the first time I saw a 90-year-old guy pushing a shopping trolley at Publix with 2 guns strapped to his hips. I'm not sure how quick this guy could actually draw them if he needed to. Definitely not something that I see here on a daily basis though either. There are issues in America with guns. School shootings and gang violence are real and in desperate need of action to prevent them. But it's also not something that is happening everywhere, every day, on every street corner.
USA.
If you think that every American has a mansion and a yacht, you might be confusing reality with Hollywood again. The US has a broad economic disparity, with significant portions of the population living paycheck to paycheck, or worse. The wealth gap is a hot topic, and while there are wealthy Americans, many struggle to make ends meet. The gap between the middle class and the mega rich grows larger every single day. Bankruptcy caused by healthcare is common, and there is currently a hidden white-collar job shortage, with many people unable to find work or being underemployed. Middle-class Americans are generally privileged to have a pretty high quality of life, but there are some deficits. Paid time off is one of those areas in which the US lags behind other countries. Americans who are employed full-time on average get very few vacation days, and whilst it is the norm to get 4 weeks vacation and 2 weeks sick leave in Australia, you will normally only get 1 or 2 weeks vacation when first starting a job here, inclusive of sick time.
Sea air smells great, doesn't it, honey?
Somebody around here has potato chips.
The notion of the American dream, it suggests that anyone can achieve success through hard work, but this simplifies and overlooks the realities that many face. Economic and social disparities challenge this ideal, and the narrative doesn't hold true for everyone.
USA!
Images of New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago often dominate perceptions, but many Americans live in small towns, rural areas, and suburbs. There's a lot of country between the coasts, filled with farmers, small business owners, and people who prefer a quieter, slower pace of life. Big city life is just one slice of the American pie. It's a big country with a 4 to 5 hour flight from coast to coast. There's a stereotype that Americans are not well educated as well. And I honestly don't understand the reasoning behind this one. Saying Americans are not well educated is just not right. America has some of the best schools and universities on the planet where people from all over the world come to study. Education is important here, and many people work hard to learn and achieve their goals. So this stereotype doesn't fit everyone at all. So what's the takeaway from all of this? I think it's clear that these stereotypes are oversimplifications of a complex and diverse reality. Americans are not just loud, patriotic, and geographically challenged. They are so much more than that. There's no one way to be an American, and that's what makes these stereotypes so problematic. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any thoughts on American stereotypes or you want to share your own experiences, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll catch you next time on From Down Under to Down South. Hooroo, mateys.